All right, y'all. Welcome back to Dead Spot Podcast. We're here with another episode. We're getting ready for round two of the playoffs. Listen, round one was pretty good, but I think round two is going to be a lot better. We started off tonight with Minnesota Timberwolves versus the defending champ, the Denver Nuggets. When you look at it, this has got the potential to be a heavyweight matchup. Let me start off by giving the Timberwolves a lot of credit. I did not have them get into the second round. I had the Suns beating them 4-3. And not only did they come out and beat the Suns, they stomped on them. You know what I'm saying? They put them down. Ant-Man really blossomed in that series and really showed he possibly a top 10 player. Depending on how you do in this series, we'll talk more about that. But Gobert, let's talk about it. I said Gobert would have to get less minutes, and he was balling. Not only was he super impactful on the defensive end, he gave them great offensive minutes this series. He played way better than I expected him to play. McDaniels was hooping on both ends of the court. Those two guys, if they could play like that, they might have some action against Denver. Those are two of the vital pieces because we know what Ant-Man going to do. He going to come out and ball. Cat, as long as he's not in foul trouble, he going to hoop. But them other two guys, if they can play the way they played in that last series, that's the only way they're going to beat Denver because Denver, we got to kind of pump the brakes on, the Timberwolves. It was the Suns. I did have the Suns winning, but it was more just I thought their talent would shine through. I didn't think, like I said, I thought they'd be able to play Gobert off the court. They wasn't. But this a whole different monster that they playing in Denver. This a whole different animal. They so cohesive. They so in line with each other. That lineup is so hard to beat. And they just, as you can see against the Lakers, like I said, they beat them 4-1 because it don't matter if the Lakers get up. It don't matter what the Lakers do. It's not about what they can do. Denver just going to keep doing what they're doing and keep chipping away. And there's not a time where you're going to look up and say, they just gave up on the game. They never give up on the game. It's pretty impressive for a team that only got one championship for them to be this locked in. But I mean, they'd already been to another conference finals. They'd have made a few second round runs. So they've been together for a while. You could just see it. They never feel like they're out the game. So with the Minnesota Timberwolves, when you got the Suns down, it's kind of like, oh shit. Like they kind of just gave in. That's not something that the Denver Nuggets is going to do. So they got to keep their foot on the gas and they got to keep it full throttle. When you look at how they got to match up, if I was the Minnesota Timberwolves personally, I would look at maybe not starting Gobert on Jokic right away. I would probably put Cat on him. Now, I know Cat be having foul trouble problems. If he could stay out of foul trouble, I think he could be effective against Jokic with Gobert and help because if you got Gobert on him, and he cooking him, Jokic is gonna get his if he wanted, regardless. But having Gobert in that helper spot, guard Aaron Gordon, making sure they're not getting them live, making sure Aaron Gordon not getting free cuts, and keeping his eye on that. I think that kind of will stall their offense a little bit because once Aaron Gordon get going, it really get tough for them because then he catching dunks, he backdoor cutting, he, you know what I'm saying, doing his thing. Now you kind of feel like you got to help down. Now you got Porter out there shooting. Now KCP getting wide open shots. And if KCP start hitting, the shit is getting ugly. As far as, so that's Rudy Gobert on Aaron Gordon, Cat on Jokic. Now, obviously, if Cat getting in foul trouble, clearly you got to go back to Gobert on him, and that's fine. But that's just how I would come out. That's the first look I would throw at him. And then as far as Michael Conley, he got to go on KCP for a good portion of the series, just off the simple fact he don't want none of Jamal Murray at his age, and he damn sure can't do nothing with Michael Porter Jr. standing 6'10". So KCP is his best matchup. I mean, obviously, he's going to give you some minutes on Jamal Murray. He's not a horrible defender, but once Jamal get cooking, we got to get him up out of there and put him on KCP. Between McDaniels and Ant-Man, I would probably have Ant-Man guard Jamal Murray more than I would want him guard Michael Porter, just because Michael Porter constantly running around and at 16 he getting his shot off anyway. Let McDaniels use a lot more of that energy chasing him around because Ant-Man has to score 30 plus. He got to be effective. He got to be taking good shots. He got to shoot. He got to be efficient this series. So chasing a 6'10 sniper around just doesn't seem like the best case for me. So I'd rather him be on Jamal, which would be good. Ant-Man's a pretty good on-ball defender, 6'6", 6'7" about. So he got really good size. I think he'd be able to affect him a little bit. And then when you look at the switch on Jokic, like I said, with Gobert in the help, even if you got Ant-Man on Jokic, he just got to be physical enough and stall him enough for Gobert to be right there for the help and lead him into Gobert. If Cat back there is just going to be tricky, he's going to be scoring on him. Gobert got to be in that position to help on Jokic. That's the best possible way they can look at it for me. But I still, even with that being said, it's just, I know a lot of people want to go with Ant and them winning this series. I would love for Ant and them to win this series, honestly, but I got to go Denver in 6. I gotta go 4-2. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I almost went Denver in 5, just off the simple fact I like what the Timberwolves is building. I like what they got going on, but I just don't think it's enough. Now, if they want to try to extend this series, their bench is going to have to be huge for them. When you look at Reed, 6th man of the year, Alexander, Kyle Anderson, they have to outplay Payton, Bron, Reggie Jackson. Those three, they next 3 guys off their bench, those is huge minutes for them, because when you look at Denver, we know how big of a difference it is when Jokic is out there versus when he's off the court and the second unit come in. So if Timberwolves could really capitalize on that 5 to 8 minute window that they gonna have without Jokic out there, they could find a way to keep these games close enough. But I just see, unless they could just find a way to pull away, if the games is close down the end, Jokic just is almost. Jokic and Murray is the best duo in the league, because when it get to crunch time, they both super clutch. There's not too many players at the center position. There's nobody at the center position that's more clutch than Jokic, and there's probably only 1 or 2 guys at the point guard position you can say is more clutch than Jamal Murray when it comes down to it. And you got a shooter like Michael Porter that's cutthroat. You got a vet, KCP, ready to knock it down. Aaron Gordon can play his role. Aaron Gordon is such a utility that is crazy, because he's a player that grew up having handled, being a skilled player. So for him to have to be in that dunker role, he just know how to play off Jokic. He know where he needs to be, because he know where he used to hit guys that used to just stand there in that dunker spot. So it's too much. It's really it's going to be too much. I would love to be wrong again about Minnesota. I was wrong the first go around, but 4-2 Denver. I just think when you look at Jokic, look at Jamal, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, KCP 5th option. Like I keep saying, they was supposed to miss Bruce Brown more than they missing him. They haven't missed a beat because Payton and them stepped right in and got right to work. So we in for a good. I think it's gonna be a hard fought 6 game, but I can't see this going 7. I see him closing it out of 6. Let's move on to the other series in the West. We got the OKC Thunder, the number 1 seed, versus Dallas Mavericks and my boy Luka. Now listen, when you look at the series, OKC handled business. They've been off for a week. They got 7 full days of rest coming in because they took care of business. Obviously, without Zion, that series was over in quick 4 games. I still think with Zion in, they could have pushed it a little bit more, because the Pels was in a lot of those games. They just didn't have that guy that can close it. We're going to have to talk a lot about in our offseason pod about Brandon Ingram and what happens with him next. It looks like the Pels not going to pick him up, because Lou Dort literally shut him down in a way I haven't seen many players get shut down one-on-one. It was insane. He should be embarrassed by the outing he put up. If he would have played just a little bit better, they could have at least extended that series 2 more games. But shout out to OKC, because they stepped on them. They had a chance. It was a game they could have lost early on in the series. Shea was playing horrible in the first game, but he ended up bouncing back and doing what MVP caliber players do. Even if you're struggling, keep fighting through and keep pushing. When you look at their team, you look at him averaging 30. You got J-Dub, who's a future All-Star. Chet, who's a future All-Star. Dort, who's one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. Shout out to him for the improvements he done made. But the weak link, Giddey. I don't know. I seen him hit a couple of shots here and there. But with Giddey against the Mavs, the way they've been playing defense, it's going to be tough. Like when you look at the Mavs defense, now you got a guy that's just such a weak link that now you could just have a roamer. This is kind of like how it was with Russell Westbrook just in the Clippers series. He was bringing so much energy, but at the end of the day, in the half court, you can't shoot the ball. So they just playing off. They got Luka on you, just playing way off, helping out on the big, clogging up the lane. It's just going to be tough. So I don't really know how they implement Giddey. I think they got to find a way to kind of, now I said this about Gobert and was proven wrong. We'll see if I'm wrong again, but I just don't see how you could play Giddey big minutes if he's not going to let that thing fly and be confident in letting it fly. Because if so, this is an easy matchup as far as how you line him up. You put Luka on Giddey, let him rest. Obviously, he having a knee struggle. We're not putting that as no excuse, though. They still got to come out and ball. Kyrie on Lou Dort. Easy matchup. Those are 2. They got 2 guys that's not offensive weapons. Obviously, Lou Dort just want to catch and shoot. He could get to the rim a little bit, but for the most part, he just want to catch and shoot that thing. Kyrie on him. PJ on Shea. You got Derrick Jones on J-Dub, and then Gafford / Lively on Chet. Let's go. I think that's perfect. When you look at Shea, him being guarded by PJ and the size, I think that's going to affect him some. I just don't see him being able to just dominate PJ Washington. I know people feel like PJ Washington isn't that great of a defender, but you haven't been watching the game then, because he is like that on the defensive end. And shout out to Derrick Jones. They've really hit their stride. So I really feel like when you look at it, I think it's going to be hard for them to really just take over the series from a wing perspective. And that's the main scoring. They don't have much going off the bench. They don't have much going out of the other two guys. So it's on that big three. Chet, I think, is going to be a difference maker in this series. Is he going to be able to bang with Gafford and Lively? They don't have another big like the Dallas do. So every minute Chet out there, he either getting Lively or he getting Gafford. Shout out Kleber. Just found out a little while ago before I started the pod that he is not going to be he's not going to play the series. That would have been huge for them to have that third big. Like, I think I tell all the time, Kleber is one of the most underrated defenders in the whole league as far as bigs go. And if he hitting shots, it's just like great icing on the cake. But not having him is going to be huge. But I think that's going. Last game, Derrick Jones had 36 minutes in the closeout game against the Clippers. He usually played closer to 20 to 25. I think that's what it's going to have to look like. I think he's going to have to step up huge. I think Josh Green is going to have to play more vital minutes. I mean, he was bringing in energy to match Russell Westbrook energy, but now it's like he's going to have to play smarter, and he's going to have to give him minutes to fill in that role, because Kleber role is important. It's like that stretch 4 or stretch 5, whenever they really want to go super small, they're going to need the minutes against the Thunder, because Chet is a guy that's going to take you out on the perimeter. So he might give Lively and Gafford a little bit of trouble if he playing, you know what I'm saying, pick and pop game. We got to see how that look. With Kleber, we'd have been able to throw him on Chet, and I think he would have been able to hold his own. It's going to be tough, though. We're going to see how that look. I got the Mavs in 6. When you look at it, Lu Dort having to guard Luka. Hey, look, I get you just shut down Brandon Ingram. This is a whole different beast. Even with the knee injury, he kind of got it going yesterday in the early first half, and he came out and scored. And then you got Kyrie Irving, who has been hooping. So now you got to pick your poison. You want to put Lu Dort on Luka, or you want to put him on Kyrie? Whoever you don't put him on, the other one finna get the cooking. I know Shai's an okay defender. He don't want to smoke with neither one of them. Giddey, you're going to have to probably guard PJ Washington. When you look at Chet, he going to guard the big, and then J-Dub guard Derrick Jones. That's going to be – no. My fault. No, yeah. J-Dub going to have to guard Derrick Jones, so he's going to have to watch for the cuts and this and that. Shai on whichever I think they go Shai on Kyrie, Lu Dort on Luka. Going to be a long fucking series, man. I think it's going to be competitive. I think the two of them, when you look at it, they have pretty similar setups, like defensive guys and a few guys that can score. But when you look at it, they got Shai and J-Dub as their top 2 scorers. Luka and Kyrie, I'm rocking with them over those two as far as scoring. And the defense, when you look at what they did to the other than game 1 against the Clippers, where they just was lighting it up and couldn't miss. Game 2, they was on their ass. Game 3, they was on their ass. Game 4, they came out hooping, and then they went on a crazy run in the third as far as locking up, and almost came back and won the game if PG didn't hit that crazy shot. Game 5, right back to it. Game 6, locked in. When Kyrie Irving is playing the way he playing on defense, Kyrie Irving has been great this playoffs as far as defense go, and Luka has been pretty good. He had his down moments here and there in Game 4 when he was in huge foul trouble. 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the game, all the way through the game. But other than that, you got to give them credit for the way they've been locked in on defense. If they locked in like this on defense, and they could give me, and Luka could just give me some better production from the 3-point line, I don't see how they can't win this series and maybe get Denver. We got to talk about that after we see this series. But I just look at when you look at the Thunder bench, it's not much there. So that's not a big deal as far as like, you know what I'm saying, Kleber being out. They don't really have much scoring off the bench. Neither do OKC. I think this is going to be kind of low-scoring games, kind of like the Clippers series was. And when it come down to them clutch moments, man, I'm rocking with one of the most clutch duos in the league, Luka and Kyrie, every time. I do got it going 6, though. I almost wanted to say, nah, we're going to stick with 6. We're going to stick with 6. Let's move right along. We got the Knicks versus the Pacers. Listen. I hate that Giannis got hurt. I hate that Dame wasn't able to play at his full abilities. I know he was ready to go and get going in the series and was finally ready to play for a contender. It wasn't in the cards this year. Hopefully they can shake back for next year. This series, I do not see it being that good. If Brunson can come out and play the way he played to close that series, they getting the Pacers out of there in 5. The Pacers don't play no defense. They not gonna have enough answers. Josh Hart been balling out of his mind. I don't have much to say about this series. They gonna have to try to run them out the gym. And with OG Anunoby, you got Josh Hart, they got bigs. I just don't see them being able to score enough points. I think the Knicks defense is just gonna show up and show out, and it's gonna be a quick series. They could sweep them boys, but you know what I'm saying, when you got an offense that good, sometimes they gonna get hot one of them games and they gonna win game 3, I think. But I can't see this being a good series. The Knicks going to their first Eastern Conference Finals in forever. I got them going there, and I've got them going there in 5. The last series, we still haven't been decided. We got Orlando versus Cavs tomorrow, game 7. Now, listen, when we want to talk about who's going to give Boston the best series, at first you would have thought it would have been Cleveland, but now with Jarrett Allen out, the way they just looked, Donovan Mitchell had 50, and they couldn't even match him. They didn't give him no points in the fourth quarter. That does not sit well with me. I think Orlando, if they can find a way to win game 7, which is going to be hard for a young team to win game 7, which is why I picked for Cleveland to win in 7. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? We still got to see how that work out. But if they can find a way to get through, I think they give a much better series to the Celtics. When you look at their side, did you see who they start? They went with huge. They had Baccaro playing. They had Paolo playing the 2. So it's like if they go that big, KP not going to play in this series. They could dominate the glass. They have wings that could guard their wings. Like I'm not saying they could beat Boston. I think it could go, but I do think they give them a better series. I think they could get them in 6. But be careful with no KP. Like I said, I've been saying all season, they don't have much depth. So if anybody got hurt, it's gonna get tricky. Now they're gonna have to start Al Horford. So now you're looking at Al Horford, he's still a really, really good defender. Al Horford, Jason Tatum, Brown, Drew, and Derek White. It ain't much coming off that bench. You got Hauser, you got Pritchard, Luke Kmet. If Luke Kmet getting big minutes and they bringing off the other Wagner, they got 2 Wagners out there. The other Wagner coming off the bench, I could see them kind of finding a way to sneak a game. And like we said, the Celtics is going to have that game or 2 where they top guys is just not shooting. Derek White, we'll see if he could keep playing the way he playing. But I would have to say Orlando got a much better shot. I think the Celtics get Cleveland without Jarrett Allen out there damn near in 4 or 5 games. I could easily see them sweeping them out the way. So I would hope for Orlando just because we're looking for really good basketball. So I got them going. So I had Cleveland winning, so it don't matter to me because if they Cleveland win, we was right. But if Orlando win, we getting better basketball, which that's what we all here for. So let's go Orlando tomorrow. Tonight I got Denver winning. And I ain't gonna lie, I got Denver kind of winning in the blowout tonight. I think Timberwolves gonna come out riding high, gonna be feeling good, and Denver gonna smack that ass. I think Timberwolves will bounce back, but I think they getting their ass whooped tonight. Plain and simple. We gonna wrap this up and get back to you next week. Peace.